In big segment tonight, as you may know, President Obama is committed to the war in Afghanistan, despite the fact that some liberal Americans oppose it. To be fair, some conservatives, like George Will, think the campaign is folly as well. Now, most accounts have Osama bin Laden living in Pakistan, directly across the border from Afghanistan, so why can't we get him? With us now, Dan Senor, who works for the Council on Foreign Relations, and from Boston, Fox News military analyst Colonel David Hunt. All right, Colonel, so I'm putting you in charge of the bin Laden unit. And do you think you can get it? Do you think you could do it?
Yes. You have to have, though, the ability to task across bureaucratic lines in our government and the ability to, unfettered, go anywhere he's at. Pakistan, Iran, doesn't matter. And the ability to go get him. It's been lack of political will, not capability, that's allowed bin Laden, Zawahiri, and Mullah Omar to still be alive.
All right, but if you do cross into Pakistani territory without their permission, then you alienate the Pakistani government and you blow it up into a very big deal, do you not?
It's already a very big deal. I'm not so sure some money can't get him out of hiding, but the issue is the U.S. will to go wherever he's at. And
so you would violate Pakistani sovereignty if you thought you knew where he was. You'd send guys in to try to get him.
To get bin Laden, I could violate anybody's sovereignty, of course.
Right. How about you, Dan?
I think the most important thing we need to do right now is to weaken the Taliban and weaken Al-Qaeda. That's important for getting bin Laden. It's important for preventing another attack on the homeland. It's important to prevent neighboring governments from being destabilized. And the way you do that is to change or at least emphasize in our strategy, our counterinsurgency strategy, a population-centric strategy rather than an enemy-centric strategy, which is what we did in Iraq with the surge, which is put the resources on the ground so the population feels secure and the population feels comfortable working with us.
That's a long
going after Al-Qaeda.
That's a long-term strategy. And, you know, it's 8 years later and bin Laden's still not caught. Yeah, I mean, the theory is it might work in Afghanistan, but it might not. It's a different situation than Iraq. Do you think putting more troops in there, Colonel, in Afghanistan, and then putting more resources, we've already pumped, you know, billions of dollars in there, to make the folks feel better, feel more secure, would lead to the capture of bin Laden and the collapse of the Taliban? Do you think that is a realistic possibility?
Not with just soldiers. The Marines and Army guys do a great job. You need as many non-combatants, road builders, teachers, people that do other issues than killing bad guys. Almost the same number. About 10,000 right now are needed. Otherwise, all the work the Army and Marines are doing will not matter.
Is it worth spending that kind of money? Is it worth spending all the money that it would take to do that? On a maybe.
For the next couple of years, yes, because if you leave it now, yes. If you leave it now, you guarantee the Taliban has gotten stronger and Al-Qaeda come back to plot. Afghanistan is important. Getting it right, though, is very important. We just can't use soldiers to do it. We need other issues, which this government, the past administration, was not willing to do.
Bill, you know, so much of what this administration talks about as it relates to Afghanistan is getting bin Laden. It's really important. Question is, what happens tomorrow if we do get bin Laden? I think American public support for our presence in Afghanistan will crater. They'll say, we got bin Laden, it's over. The reality is our interests right now in Afghanistan transcend and go beyond getting bin Laden.
Well, we know that, but it's just a matter of how much money, how much manpower, how much patience you want to have in a primitive country that may or may not respond to what we're trying to do. But that's right. President Obama made it a central part of his campaign, all right, that he was going to do everything he can to get bin Laden. Colonel Hunt doesn't think he's doing everything he can, do you?
I think he is committed to it. I think the military is focused on it. The question is whether or not he will ramp up the troop levels, which I think he will be recommended to do.
Look. Colonel Hunt says you've got to go into Pakistan, you've got to go into these areas where they're hiding and kill them.
I actually think the administration is doing a lot of that now. Could they be doing more? Yes.
Covertly?
Covertly with UAVs. They're doing.
Do you think they're doing that, Colonel? Do you think they're in there? There are CIA people in there and special forces in there?
There's a minimal effort to cross, but it doesn't just killing them. They've got to do all the other things to keep building that country. We've supported Karzai government, Bill. They got a fraudulent election. It's a very, very tough place, which won't be won by military might alone.
All right, guys. Thanks very much. We appreciate it. Plenty more as the factor moves along.